Buenos dias, Gaetano. How's it going this morning?
It's going good, and guess what?
What?
Second week in a row, I have an Spain. I think our hook is taking off. I have
Oh
one
my
for you.
gosh. It's
Yeah,
working, maybe. So we
maybe.
actually have more things to share.
Yeah. So Spain. The title is actually it's relative to our hook.
Oh my
So
gosh. Who knew?
who knew? Who knew? I mean, we did if we were smart enough to actually keep including it.
I think if we had actually remembered what we talked about when we first started talking about this podcast, we wouldn't have had this whole
This whole
discombobulated idea of what we were going to do here. So,
exactly.
what is your Spain?
So this week I have an
Oh
Spain.
no.
Yeah, so remember I don't remember what episode it was. It was not that long ago. We were talking about finding stuff in the stores and grocery items and all that
Oh
stuff.
yes, yes. So that was, I think, was like how we got situated or something, like when we were buying
So, how we
things when we
settled in
first
or
got here.
something. I think
Yes.
that's what it was, the how we settled in episode. Well, me and my daughter yesterday went to Carrefour at what we call the Fancy Fun American Mall because there's a mall called Saler Mall next to the City of Arts and Sciences, which I know you know, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
explaining it to all those others if they want to Google map our lives.
And just to be just to be clear, it's Salaire Mall because the way you said it sounded like Salaire Mall,
Oh, yeah, okay. That's
which
two
could be
words
which could be a Spanish word.
for like something bad.
I don't know.
We're gonna get hate mail. So,
So Salaire is the name of the mall, and it
right.
is the probably. I mean, we're a Bon Air mall on the other side, on the outskirts, sort of Valencia on the west side, but the big one in the city is that one, which is it
Yeah.
is nice, yeah.
It's nice and it's very, it's 3 stories and all that kind of stuff. So there's a big Carrefour there.
Mm-hmm.
If people don't know, Carrefour is kind of like a Target of Europe kind of thing. And so I had seen there. So my friend Tania had introduced to me 2 summers ago this
Mm-hmm.
Robinson's lemon like concentrate that you can make. What do you
Okay,
call it in
let
England?
me
A
introduce
crush,
this.
a smash, a
Let me intro,
smush? What's it called?
let me introduce this properly because no. You can't have an American explain what lemon squash is,
Oh.
okay? So one of the joys of us moving, for me as an English person, moving back from America to Europe is finding some of these English things and how we do lemonade. You know, if you ask for lemonade in England, you're going to get a squash.
And tell people what a squash
And
is.
a
Because I
squash
didn't,
is
I didn't know what a squash was until I went on the Queen Mary 2. And they're like,
Oh, really?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's basically you buy a bottle of concentrated juice that you then just put like a little bit in the bottom and then you mix it up with water. So you have like instead of buying the whole thing of a whole bottle of something that you drink, it's a concentrated, and it's so good because you can get in lemon and you found like mixed fruit,
Mixed fruits,
orange.
orange, yeah.
And Robinson's is kind of the quintessential one, which is why it's the one over here. But I think in England there'll be a lot of different brands. But Robinson's is the kind of brand for it.
It's like the band-aid of bandages, right? Like if
Yeah. And
you're
I
gonna
got
get
so excited when I found it in the grocery store here in our little tiny town, in our little tiny grocery store. And I was like, what is going on? And then you came to my house and you had it and you were like, this is great.
this is amazing. And so then we would go visit her, or she would come visit us in the city, and I'd tell Tanya to stop by the consume in your neighborhood. I'd bring like 5 back home to the city, or I'd make you bring some down when you come to the city. So I had found a few months ago that Carrefour sells it. And I had seen it there, and I didn't buy it because I had a couple in the house still. And so my youngest daughter and I wanted to go. She wanted to go clothes shopping. I said, "Let's go to the Fancy Fun Mall, and I can go to Carrefour and get our lemon smash smush. What's it called?
Squash.
Squash. That's what I said.
Is what you said.
Very
Lemon
close.
squash,
Lemon
orange squash, mixed fruit squash.
Yes. So lemon. And I was also on the hunt still for this horseradish because I still don't remember what store I bought the horseradish for. But that's another no. Anyway, so
You just look for that everywhere.
everywhere I go, you sell shoes here? You got horseradish? So anyway,
I tried to find that in England and I totally forgot to go look. I was going to see if I could bring a pot over.
oh, thanks.
I'm sorry. Next
So
time.
we're at the Carrefour, and the Carrefour is huge. It's like a super Walmart, like the one at that mall, as you know. It's ginormous, and so they have a food section, and they've got like 4 aisles of beverages. One's just water. One aisle is just milk. One aisle is just like sodas and mixers, and another aisle is like juices and mixers. And I'm like, I know I saw it here, and I saw it in these islands, and I am going back and forth. And Paloma is getting fed up with me. She's like, you can't find it, Dad.
It's not here,
it's not here.
okay?
Let's just go. I'm like, no, it's here. And look, and then when I'm like, see, they're even selling it online. So I'm sure they still carry it at the store.
It has to be at the biggest one, right?
Right.
And we've all had that experience walking around Spanish stores where you think you know where things are going to be, and you go up and down. And poor Zena has also followed me on these travels, and it's like, I know it's here, but maybe it's just one between two waters. So I'm going to go down the water aisle again.
Yeah. And that's what I did. And where it was, I know where I saw it. It was not there. And now we've circled forever, and I'm like, fine, you can have some cookies. Like, she's just like now putting stuff in the cart because I'm wasting her time. So I'm like, fine, you can have what you want. And so getting ready to leave, and I was like, you know what? Let me just walk down the wine aisle. And that's where they had the wine and the liquor. And in between, I should have photographed it. In between, like, limoncello and rum was a stand of lemon Robinsons and the orange Robinsons. No other mixers or squashes were in this.
No grenadine, no nothing?
No. No, the grenadine was in a different aisle.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I thought it would then have been next to all the, like you said, all the concentrated mixers.
Now I have to remember. I wasn't thinking about the grenadine. But it wasn't like where other things were, where it was before, and where it's at your grocery store. Your grocery store, it's with, like, the grenadines and the juices, but it's not next to the wine and the rum. Like, this was literally next to a bottle of limoncello and rum.
Yeah, I think ours is a section of concentrated things like grenadine and the squashes,
but along with
like Nestea, like iced teas and bottles.
Yeah,
and
like it's in the non-alcoholic aisle.
So you found it with the alcohol.
I found it with the alcohol.
So you found it.
I did find it as I was ready to give up hope. So it was an Spain. It was like, things aren't where they're supposed to be.
But it's also an Spain.
I did get
it eventually.
I did find it.
But you were so frustrated by the time you got there. You were like, "No, this isn't working."
I'm so angry. But and they do carry the ocean spray with sugar. So
okay. Well, that's good to know.
I mean, ocean spray is hard to find in the city. And some stores will sell it outside the city, and they'll have the no sugar, which is like, yeah, that's great and healthy and all. But then they have the ones with the little, like, the real cocktail, like the real cranberry juice cocktail. And I'm like, it's just a little bit of America in a glass. It really is.
Well, I wonder too, like, I mean, I sometimes wonder whether things are being put randomly because they don't know what they're really used for, which would be totally like understandable,
right?
Or if they use it for something different here and therefore it gets put in that aisle. For the peanut butter we've talked about, like, it's over in the protein bar section
at Consume. It is
in Consume, but I mean, to me that is like
maybe dominance with the jams and jellies.
Maybe that's what they don't actually use it like a spread here. They use it as a protein supplement, therefore it's with the protein stuff, so it makes sense for them but not for us,
right?
Possibly.
Or it makes sense for Consume but not for Mercatana,
right.
different, right? And then, like, if you're lucky to find maple syrup, right, you'll find in some stores it might be near the honey, and in another store it's not at all, if they have it, right?
Well, and the same for like Nutella and the chocolate spread. Sometimes it's with the jams and jellies and honeys, and sometimes it's its own complete section in with the candy, which is probably where it should be, frankly. It probably should be with the chocolates and the candy, but we don't want to be reminded that it's a chocolate candy that we're having for breakfast. So I would like it with the honey and the jelly, please, and the jams.
I mean, it's nutritious, right? Serotonin levels for the day. I think it's a mood regulator, the Nutella.
It's a mood regulator? I think it's a mood deregulator.
No, it's good for you. Get your brain going.
Sure, absolutely. Sure. Yeah, that's how we like to think about it in this house.
Exactly.
It's a staple, okay?
It's a staple. We need it.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay, so that was your Spain. This is not what we were supposed to be talking about today, but we're now like half an hour in, so we apologize for that.
But how we got there.
Oh yes, how we got there.
How we got there.
Well done.
The segue, because we had planned what we were going to talk about this episode, and how we got there was we walked, but our
that is not helpful.
Well, that's a way of transport, and then on our way back, though, since our hands were laden with bags, we had the choice of taking the subway or the bus.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And we chose the bus.
Okay, so we are going to talk about we're going to talk about transportation today, and we both have very different ways of
Getting around.
getting around. So that's kind of helpful. So because we're out of the city, we basically depend on our car, and we might sometimes take the car to the train. But you are really, bus. You're really in on it with the cards and all the things that I know nothing about of how to get around in the city.
We are urban. We are all about transport, and ironically, though, we don't use transport that often because the city is so geographically small that most of it is done walking. And there are times, like with the mall, it was like we could walk back, but this stuff's heavy. We've got like several bottles of squash and cranberry juice.
It's nice to have the option, and
Yeah.
you're right. I mean, if I've ever driven in, or if I've driven to the metro and taken the metro in or something, I've never had to get on a metro or a bus to get around to somewhere. Like, you can walk everywhere.
Right. You can walk everywhere, and the bus is not going to get you there quicker than your feet until it reaches like a certain distance. Once you're like 1.5 kilometers, then you're like, I guess I better take the bus, right?
So you would take the bus or the metro to go to like IMED, the hospital, or to the airport, for instance?
The IMED in Bursa, yes. Obviously,
Okay.
I would not take the bus. I would take the subway.
The subway.
So, like, for us to get to Bursa, it's 2 subways. We're there in like 20 minutes. Like, it's like 45 minutes door to door from my house to the hospital door is how I have to plan for it.
Explain something to me, because I don't use it enough, and I think it works the same way as the London Underground, I think. But I don't really know, because I'm constantly taking really transportation into the city from outside of the city. Are there zones or areas or the cards that you have? Like, do you get different cards for different things, or does one card work for everything? Because this is where my brain goes like, poof.
And it should, because this is an Spain moment, because you want to beat your head in. And yet it's also Spain, because it's very nice. So there are zones to the city. There's an A zone, A, B zone, B zone, and a C zone. Okay. So your town, like when I take the train to you, I have to have a B zone ticket to get me there.
So we're not even the furthest out, even though we're at the end of the line there.
But you are the furthest out.
Oh, okay.
C does not mean furthest out. C, there's only one stop in the C zone, and that's the airport.
Oh, okay.
So you could live...
Again, my brain just went poof again.
Yeah. So you could live like, across the street from the airport, and you need a C zone to get in if you're going to take transport.
Okay, so they're just making the airport a special. That makes sense.
Because that's the most expensive zone.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I will tell you how not to make it. Well, it'll still be the most expensive zone, but very cheaply. But anyway, so you have these A zones, A, B zone, I think, and BC. Like, is there a BC? No. Then you can buy a card. So you can pay one off for each ride, and that's the most expensive way to go. I think it's like $150 to ride one ride on the subway and the bus. I think someone told me the bus may have gone up, but I don't know.
Okay.
I don't ever pay full fare, so I don't know. So you buy the Suma card, and you can buy 5 packs, 10 packs of rides, and they become at a considerable amount of discount. And for the past couple years, they've been really under like they every 6 months they pass a law or repass a law that keeps them even at a like 50% discount. Okay. So if you buy a 10-pack for like one zone, for like the zone A, it's €4 plus €2 for the plastic card that's then refillable. But when you refill it for 10 rides, it's €4, so 40 cents a ride. Like, you can't beat that with a stick. You really can't.
No, that's amazing. And then so I bought a card, and I have a card, but I bought it outside, probably in zone B. So I'm using, so that card is always for AB. Even if I float around the city and go from an A station to an A station, I'm paying more because I'm using an AB card.
Right.
So I should have separate cards for all of these things then.
Right. So that's what I do. I have one that's a B card for when I want to come visit you, or if I want to go to because you can use the B card on some of the commuter rails to a certain distance. So I can use it to get to the girls' school in Pusol. I can take the commuter rail, which is not a metro train, and then it's 60 cents the ride, and then I can use that to get back. But that's actually I think that's the last stop that you can use that card to get
I have used my Suma card to go on that rail from Puthal into the Nord station, I guess, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I've used that card for it. So is the card for A only? Is it a different color?
No, so this is this is
okay.
the
Because
scream
I didn't
moment.
feel like I had seen different color cards,
No,
but of course I only have the one that I have that is obviously AB then.
well,
Okay.
it's the red card.
It's
They're
the
all
red
red.
card.
They're
Yeah.
all red plastic cards, and so I have with Sharpie. This is an A card. This is a B card, and this is my ABC card. This is my or the airport. I call that the airport card.
Right.
So. So you have to write them out that way. So then that way, because I will be frugal over 20 cents. I am on
Well, the
on a
biggest
fixed
problem is
budget
going.
here.
Yeah, of course, but the biggest problem is going the other way. Like, what if you get on at like Betera, which is a B zone with your A card? Will it just not take it, or will it just charge you more on it? Do you think?
It will not take it
It
because
won't take it,
it won't
okay.
take it because I have done that. Because if you don't swipe it in, then swiping out is the problem, right? So
Okay.
better like some of these suburban stations for our listeners, they don't have turnstiles, so it's an honor system that you swipe. Otherwise, you can just get on the train. It's just a
Yeah.
platform. And in the city, it's turnstiles. You have to swipe to get in and out. But if you're coming from the suburbs and into the city and you haven't swiped, I think you can. It won't open the
Yeah, it will. You don't have to. So if I get on at Betera and I
and
don't
you don't
swipe,
swipe.
I swipe when I get off, and it knows where I got off, and it knows. I mean, it knows that I got on at
It
a
just
B.
charges the ride.
It would
Because
have to be a B station, like you said, because all the A stations probably have turnstiles. So if you haven't swiped going in, then it knows that you came from a B place. Plus,
well,
I
think,
have an AB card, so
and I don't know if it's that advanced in meaning that what I do know, that I haven't fully explained the other thing, but I'll get into this, is that um, you have 90 minutes to use your card for it to be. So I've had it where it takes, like I said, it takes us like 40 minutes to get to birth. So my doctor has seen me right away, and I've gotten to the back to the train right away and gotten home. Like in the turnaround, like the was under 90 minutes, so I only got charged one ride for the whole
oh
trip. So it
wow,
cost me like
that's
40
amazing.
cents to go the whole thing.
That's really good.
It was a miracle of miracles, right?
Can we just take a moment to say that you can go to the doctor?
Yeah.
You can actually go to the doctor, see the doctor, get out of there in like 15 minutes here, which
you
is
can.
such a joy.
Depending on the doctor. I know the specialist harder. And I will say it was really good, and a total tangent, but since the Dana, I feel like they're still backed up with those appointments of those 2 weeks of not appointments
Oh,
with
yeah.
different
Well, now,
specialists.
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so you have 90 minutes. So I think it's also maybe because it just registered that's like you using it, and they're just going to take the ride off no matter what, right?
Right.
And so, so there are so the card can only have a maximum. You can load it up to 30 rides per card, but you can't load the card up with two different versions.
Right.
So if
Well,
you've
so
got
that's
A
good to know.
rides, it can
Yeah.
only be A rides and so forth and so forth. Now the airport thing, which is amazing, is it's $4.50 I think for the one-way trip to the airport by the subway. But if you buy a 10 back, it's €10. But if you're buying the card new, it's 12 because you have to pay for the card itself.
Right.
So you're really doing the trip for €1. And
That's
if,
amazing.
and if you have a European youth card, so if your children are between 14 and 30 and you've lived here for more than a year, so I think you have to be a year to get it. I think. Someone can yell at me and tell me I'm wrong. We love the interaction and the engagement if you want to.
Being yelled at.
But I know I tried to get it for my daughter when she turned 14 and we were denied it. And then I tried again, and she has the European Youth Card. You have the European Youth Card, you can apply for the free subway card. So my daughter rides all A zones for free. Ironically, she cannot use it to get home from Pusol because it's only like a one zone card.
Right. Well, that makes sense. They probably are not encouraging kids of that age to be traveling so far by
Right.
themselves. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean,
that
I mean
care
they,
here,
but no, but it's from 14 to 30. So I hope they're allowing 27-year-olds to be responsible. enough.
right.
So-
One would hope.
Yeah, but she can use it to like Betera by herself. So
Yeah, so who knows?
Who knows? Maybe.
I don't
but,
know.
But so for that she can't use it. But they can use it to Zone C for free. So when we
Okay.
go to the airport, it only costs a family of 3 €1 to go to the airport.
That's amazing.
I
See,
mean,
that's totally worth it.
That's
And
worth
then-
moving. I mean,
and
that's
then-
why we're here.
And then you're using the same card on the buses, right?
Right, yeah,
So you
it's
have the same system on the buses, and
Right.
that works
And they
out pretty
have
well.
these other, and these I don't know to what distance the commuter trains, but the commuter trains as well.
As well, yeah.
And the other thing is we have these other buses that are called metro buses. So the buses in the city are the EMT buses, which is not emergency medical transport. Um, that's called something, and I'm sure Tanya might want to Google that and let us know. And let us. Oh, I'm sorry. Tanya's just going to know that she's not going to Google it. That she's very smart. She just doesn't pull this out.
I know everything. So EMT, just so we get back to just into the car a little bit. Like when you drive around the city, you have these EMT lanes. So when I obviously I thought these were like emergency medical like transportation or something, but I think so that they're their own lane. They're for the buses. I mean, I'm sure they're for the. I'm sure they're also for the for emergency transportation and stuff. But
right, and cabs, buses and cabs,
buses and cabs, basically. And so basically and it says EMT on it, like the whole thing, and it's the Empresa Municipal de Transportación, I think is how you say it, but not in like, my Spanish is terrible.
Yeah,
I know, right? Just my Spanish is so beautiful. Please excuse it. So it says EMT on all these lanes. So you have to be careful if you're driving in the city because you're not allowed to drive in those lanes. Right. But you do need to cross them if you need to get over to the right to get to another road that you want to go down. But so you have to kind of cross it, and you'll see other people doing this. Like you just need to cross it at the very last moment.
Right.
You can't just be driving down them like, yay, it's a free lane.
And like I live on a street that has an EMT lane, but everyone's double parked in the other lane, so people have no choice but to use it.
I'm not saying it's a perfect system, and also because when you cross over, if you're crossing over in a lot of places in the city, especially like near you, I think, but basically everywhere, you're crossing an EMT line, and then you'll have a small sidewalk where people are walking, and then you'll have the bike lane. And then you'll have people walking again. So you're crossing like 15 things that you have to be paying such good attention to. Oh,
Frogger?
Crossy Roads. Crossy Roads.
Or Frogger. Remember Frogger though,
it's
too?
Totally like Frogger. And you add the scooters to that and... Oh, yes.
Okay, so I'm not a scooter rider.
I'm
not a scooter rider, but those people will kill you. And do it with happiness, with smiles on their faces. Cyclists will slow down and stop, I have found when we're crossing.
Yeah.
The scooters, who have like, I think a quicker brake that will stop them. They're like, no, I'm just going, and they will flip you off. And from what I've heard from locals, there is a war between the scooter people and the non-scooter people. Like people don't really like them. Like walkers don't like them, and
I think this is kind of an ongoing thing. And I will say from a driving point of view, and probably you've experienced this when walking, you're exactly what you're saying. The scooters are really not stopping, and they're also coming at a much faster speed. And they do now are required to wear a helmet and have insurance, I think. That's not relatively new, like maybe a year or two or something. But when you're driving and you have to cross all these lanes, I do feel like because people on bicycles are kind of powering their own bike, they're much more conscious about stopping and slowing down, whereas the scooters tend not to. And then you've got people walking. And the people, going back to driving a car, if you're driving a car, please, please, please do take into account if you're coming from another country, like England or America, and I don't know about other countries, you are expected to stop, which you are in the other countries, but we don't. Here, people will literally just walk out of the street because they know you're going to stop. Mm-hmm. So don't be thinking that people are going to stop and see if you're going to go first. You are expected to stop. The pedestrians are expecting you to stop. They will come out from behind a tree with their phone in their hand and just walk across the road. And you have to stop, always.
Well, side note, bus drivers will run you over. So,
other than the bus drivers.
they take it as a sport. Oh, there's a pedestrian in the crosswalk. I'm gunning it.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, but you cannot do that as a car. You really, really, really are expected to stop here. And it's better when you're going across all those lanes to make a right turn or a left turn, you are just kind of stopping and looking for like 3 or 4 times to make sure you don't hit anything. So it's a bit stressful, but just be aware of that. I think that's kind of unique to European cities.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we had bike lanes and all that stuff in LA. But what was
not when I lived there.
No, it was all new.
That was survival of the fittest back then.
Yeah, it's all new. But I was going to finish the thought with the subway cards is then my younger daughter is under 14, and that's a different process, but she has a free card as well. So it's just unlimited rides, and like every 6 months they renew the law that it's still active, right? Kind of thing. I don't have to keep reapplying for it.
Right, that's good.
But it's like twice a year they keep that they get the funding. I think they get the funding from like the state, the I don't know if it's from Valencia state or like the federal government gives the money or whatever. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's how it is now. And they just switched the cards. They used to be these cardboard cards. Now they've got their IDs, their picture on them and stuff. So
That's very handy.
So they're not
Yeah.
transferable and people aren't scamming the system.
Well, speaking of ID cards, let's jump in quickly to transferring driver's licenses.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have not done that yet.
Oh my gosh. So this guy doesn't drive at all, which is great for me because I'm basically a chauffeur. But that's obviously the case for a lot of people that live in this city. It's not often worth having a car in the city. I totally see that. Some people do. But if you are coming from anywhere outside of Europe, you need to now, including England, you need to... you cannot. Well, the English probably might be able to still transfer their driver's licenses. I'm not sure. Probably
I don't
not.
know.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think
I
they
feel
can. So if
I
you're
feel like
coming
on
from
the message boards, I see a lot of chatter.
There is possibly a theory that sometime in the future, if they make an agreement, that might come back, I suppose. But right now you can't. And for Americans, 100% you cannot transfer your driver's license. I was lucky that when we moved and I managed to not only get in before Brexit, thank God, but I also managed to, they kept moving the deadline for transferring the driver's license, and it was very, very stressful, but I did manage to succeed to do that, so I was very fortunate. But otherwise, you have to take the test, and you have to pay for the lessons.
And so this is why I have not done it yet, because it is a several months ordeal, and it's about $1,000 is the average price. People say they're like $800 to $1,000 you're gonna spend, which that's a lot for if I'm hemming and hawing over 40 and 60 cents on a subway. I'm obviously not right now just doling out $1,000 for a driver's license for a car I don't even have or plan on buying. But I do need to have one.
You do at some point, I think, but
everyone has to pay. It's not like an American tax. If you're a Spaniard, it costs you €1,000 to get a driver's license. Everyone has to take, you have to take the written test, you have to go to school, and you have to take the practical test. It's not like a punishment. The only people that don't have to do it is, I'm actually very smart myself. I did not Google this at all, but it's a very small number of countries that have treaties with Spain where they can transfer their driver's license.
Well, since you're so smart and you know that off the top of your head, why don't you read from your phone and tell us what those countries are?
So, the list is a little bit longer. But Andorra, Algeria, Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, South Korea, Costa Rica, Ecuador, Philippines, Georgia, the country, not the state.
Not the state. Wouldn't it be funny if one state in America was allowed to?
Guatemala, Honduras, Japan, North Macedonia, Morocco, Moldova, Monaco, Nicaragua, New Zealand, Panama, Paraguay, Peru. Oh, it still says the UK.
I mean, it might have come back. Something might have happened, but it wasn't on the agreement at the beginning, so everyone was frantically trying to change their driver's licenses. And let me tell you, I walked into the Department of Transportation to exchange my driver's license, and I had to do it a few times because I was made an appointment, then I made the wrong appointment. They're very uptight there. Like, if you have to make an appointment for the thing that you need to go to do, so you can't just make an appointment for something else and hope that that person will help you do that other thing. It just doesn't work that way. So I was like, there's no appointments. Let me go in and try it. Didn't work. And they had created a whole department for people exchanging their driver's licenses that were British. And I was so embarrassed. And I'm like, I'm so sorry about Brexit. I'm so sorry. Like, I'm just walking around and I'm so sorry that you have to do this. Like, because, it would have been fine. But they hadn't made that part of the agreement. So I think everyone possibly hoping that will change, but that hasn't. So it might have if it's still on there, but
according to this, and this is the website of the government. I'm not doing this off of some Reddit thread. And and the rest of the list is so Dominican Republic, El Salvador, Serbia, Switzerland, Tunisia, Turkey, Ukraine, and Uruguay. Ironically, I thought it would have been like all of the EU.
Well, I think they're skipping the most EU countries because you don't need to transfer your driver's license if you come from France, right?
Because Andorra is not the EU.
Right. Yeah. So it's countries around here that aren't part of the EU, but so basically you have to like you just said, you have to actually pay for that. Everyone does.
Right.
And you can take the written part in English or another language. I don't know which languages they do it in, but you can take that in a few other languages. But you will have to take the driving part in Spanish. But
In
the
Spanish.
people that are teaching you, there's only so many phrases you need to know. You need to know your lefts and your rights and things like that. So even if you're basic in Spanish, you can succeed in that.
And from what I understand, what people have told me, again, I've not gone down this rabbit hole myself yet.
This will be a 3-part podcast episode.
I've walked by the school. I know where it's at, the one near me that does the classes in English. And from what I understand is that your driving instructor is in with the practical exam with
yes,
you.
That is
they're
true.
In the driving exam. They're not supposed to translate, but from what I've heard, if you're having a really hard time, they will translate from the Spanish exam giver, whatever those are called.
I mean, that's nice.
Proctor?
And then
Proctor? Is that what that's called?
I don't know. Oh, I haven't started my glossary yet. I need to start a glossary. So basically, the other thing is you have to decide if you want to take the driving test in manual or automatic. That is an option here.
Right.
And I know that in America, a lot of people, like it, outside of certain sort of areas, probably it's not very common to know how to drive a manual.
Most Americans, I think, nowadays don't know how to drive a manual.
I would highly recommend learning how to drive a manual car. I think every adult should know how to drive a manual car, for goodness sake. And you will be
I
more
almost
likely
lost
to come
2
across
parents
one
and a best friend by trying to teach me how to drive manual. So
everyone except Gaetano should know how to drive a manual car.
I tried many times. I remember one time when I was 15 and my dad was trying to teach me how to drive a manual. We were driving uphill in the country. We were driving uphill. And then there was the stop sign, and I started having a panic attack, and I was like, what do I do? And he just got out of the car and walked home and figured it out. And I was like, oh!
Well, I'm not suggesting you learn that way. That's like throwing your kid in the deep end
he
of
had
the pool.
he had already had it with me, just trying to get down the hill before going up the hill. So.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, in Europe, I think back in my day anyway, like you wouldn't have had an option.
No, it's still very
option.
common here. I mean, yeah. I go through fantasies of like building cars on European car websites, configuring them and remembering that manual is always the given. Right?
It is a given.
It's the given, yeah.
I think, but you're more likely to come across one here. So
right.
I mean, it would be maybe safer or easier if you did know how. But
Yeah, I'm 52. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But nice try.
I would teach you how, but not in my car.
Great things.
How's that?
Well, and if I do buy a car, there's no reason for me to buy a manual, so it's not.
That's true.
Issue.
That's true. Yeah, so that's the driving. That's the driving test. Sorry, everybody that's coming over and needs to transfer. And
there's no way around it.
No.
And people, I do know people that are scofflaws and have been here for 1.5 years, 2 years, and they're still using their foreign license to rent cars and hoping for the best. But the fines can be pretty big, and I think they can even impound the car. And I don't think you want to deal with that with the insurance.
You will also, I think, get points, and that's the thing. So I think you'll get so then if you ever do manage to get a driver's license, it might then immediately be taken away. I'm not sure if it works that way, but.
Oh, here's the funny note. So what I do a couple times a week is there's a website that has the tests that the driving test, the written test. And so I will take it just for,
Oh, that's a good idea.
Something in giggles. I don't want to use.
So you can do that for free?
Yeah, you can do it for free. It's 2 tests a day, and you can do that for free. And so I'm just winging it. I'm like, what does my common sense tell me? And I've taken about 20 of them by now. I have failed every single one. So just so you know, it's probably smart that we have to take these tests because I'm failing everything when it comes to road signs because they have 983,000 different road signs in the EU, and America has 5. There is.
You might be surprised how many there are in America, but you're used to them, I think. So when you're not used to them, it is different. But maybe we can post that link. That might be helpful for people to start practicing.
Yeah.
And I think that would be nice I didn't know that. I know that you would sort of get that website through the place when you sign up. I didn't realize there was one.
I just Googled. Yeah, it's called Practica Test or something like that.
We'll post it and then people can go see it. That's so funny. Well, speaking of driving, finding places in Spain. You may not. I don't know if you have this experience in the city when, like, you have been given an address of maybe a friend's apartment or something, and you end up in the wrong side of the city because Google is like, it's over here.
Well, I haven't been ended up in the wrong side of the city, but I did have friends that were visiting and they rented an Airbnb and they put the address of the Airbnb in the Uber or Free Now app or whatever, but they didn't pay attention to it and they ended up in like a town about 45 minutes outside of Valencia because all the street names are duplicated in like all the towns because they're all named after famous Spaniards and there's only so many to go around. It'd be like put like First Street, but First Street, New York, or in like Edison, New Jersey. Like which First Street are you talking about?
That's it's like they have the same street names everywhere. And then on top of that, I've had friends, Spanish friends, give me their address, and I put it into Google, and then it changes the address on me. Because it switches Valencian? It from like Valencian to Spanish and Spanish to Valencian. So every street has two names at the very least, right?
Right.
Our house has
and it's not just like street isn't a different language. The name itself is spelled differently.
Oh,
right?
yeah, no, the actual name. Yeah.
Like Bob is spelled different. Like it's not obviously
exactly
spelled Bob, but like my street, like, you know, Joaquin is Joaquin. And I was like, you know,
so
like,
you never really know. Like if someone's giving you an address, you never really know if when it gets switched, if you're looking at the same place. So our house, for instance, has like 6 addresses, 6 like official addresses. Because of the parcel number is, and then the number and like, and then the Valenciano and the Spanish. So it's like, it's just so impossible. And especially, so anytime you're given an address by somebody, especially if you're coming and visiting and you're not that familiar and you're looking for an Airbnb or something like that, always get a Google pin. Do not get the address because you want it, but don't follow Google on an address because the other thing, that's the first thing I think is just a Google pin is the best way. That this is where I live. This is where you're going to. Perfect. Right. Because we couldn't find our Airbnb when we first got here. We landed at like 10 o'clock at night and we were driving around the orange fields in the middle of the night with all of our 1,200 bags and a very tired kid. And we couldn't find, and it was a tiny village. We could have walked around the whole village and we still couldn't find the actual address there. So a Google pin would have been super helpful.
Would have been
So that's my advice. Also for that type of stuff, I use like Google has sent me down the wrong way quite a few times.
I remember living in LA and you would take Google and it would get you off the freeway just to get you right back on the freeway. I'm like, why did I get right? You're like, I didn't do it because I'm smarter than computers, but I was like, why is it telling me to get off on, you know, Crenshaw and then get back on? Like, and Waze does that too.
Yeah, it's so weird.
I will tell you with like Google, and to add on though, Google I use, which has been really good for public transport because it tells you when the next train is coming and what times. It's very accurate about that. So Google, we would like our commission check. And,
but when you take the commission check away for this next one, which is that could you please learn when there's a one-way street that goes the wrong way? So I have on many occasions in the city been told to go down a street by Google that is the wrong direction, and it won't like reset it when you start going in the other way. It just wants you to go back to that same place. So it's very hard to get where you want to go if you don't know where you're going. So I will, and it also Google one time took me into a part of Valencia. And I'm sure that, speaking of your sign thing, I'm sure there were signs for this that I didn't read.
Right.
There are parts of Valencia that you're not allowed to drive in unless you're a resident. And it's part of the old town part. So we went down there one time when we were very new here, and we were driving, and Blaze was a puppy, and she wasn't very good in the car. Let's just say she used to throw up, and then she would get a little car sick. So we would do like 20 minutes we could go, and then we would take her out, you know, take her for a little walk, get her back in the car another 20 minutes. And then we were sort of hoping that we could train her, which we did, thank goodness. But at that time we had gone like 21 minutes, I think. And we were in the middle of like, probably behind like the Central Market or something. And we got stopped by a police. What they'll do here, they won't just like come up behind you and kind of roll the lights and get you to pull over. They'll do like places where they're just stopping everybody and seeing
like a checkpoint.
Like a checkpoint, yeah. So they had a checkpoint, but obviously I wasn't the only one doing this because they had put a checkpoint here and they were like, well, you're not allowed to go down here. You know, roll down the window. 3 policemen, not speaking Spanish very well. The dog throws up in the back of the car. The second I roll down my window to talk to the policeman, Xena starts screaming, the dog's thrown up in the car, the dog's thrown up, the guy's trying to speak to me in Spanish. I don't know where I am. I'm like, I just want to get out of here. Like, I so don't know what to do. So we do.
Did he let you go, or did he give you a ticket?
No, we got a ticket. We did get a ticket, yeah.
Don't tell me it was a lot. Was it a lot?
It was, I think it was like 200 euros or something. It was a lot. It was
That's
a lot.
a lot.
So we were allowed to drive through and drive out. Obviously, there was no way back. But do read the signs. And what I do now is I will use Google to find places, but I will use Waze for directions, because Waze for some reason, has a better sense of one-way roads and restricted areas and stuff. And I don't know why.
So I wonder if this is it, because I have friends, or actually, parents of my daughter's friends that, like, they live outside the city, and they dread driving in the city. And now, mind you, I haven't driven in the city, but for me, I look at the city, I'm like, how could you dread driving in the city? There's no traffic here. There's barely cars
No,
on the
it's
road.
great.
Yeah, it's like fantastic. Maybe this is why they dread it. They don't know
This
what
might
streets
be
are.
why.
Maybe they've gotten a ticket. And it's not me thinking that they're scared of traffic. They're just scared of going down the wrong street.
Well,
and
that's true. I mean,
not
there is
paying
that
their mortgage
aspect.
this month.
There's definitely that. I mean, I don't mind driving in the city at all. I think, like you said, there's never any traffic. You can get in and out really quickly. The only thing is, there are sometimes, like, one of the things I've noticed in Spain, they'll have roads that you can drive down, but the whole thing looks like a sidewalk.
Right.
So it doesn't look like you should be able to go down
that's
there.
common in Europe, in older European neighborhoods, right?
Yeah.
Like the old sections of towns. Right?
I think you're right. Yeah, and that can kind of throw you a little bit, I think, sometimes, because you're like, and then you're hoping a car goes down there in front of you, basically, because that's the only hope, But once you get used to it, yeah, it's great. I mean, we came to visit you one night, and it was packed for some festival that we didn't know was happening. And I think that's the only thing you have to be careful of, is, like, try and stay tuned to festivals, because if that's the only thing that will really make it miserable. Soccer matches,
because that, like, where the stadium is by the, like, Valencia has, like, I swear, 3 entrances and exits, egresses into the town, right? There's one in the north, one in the west, one in the south, and that, like, that, I feel like
pretty
that's
much
it.
Yeah.
So there's the one to the north, which goes past the Mestalla Stadium, and if there's a soccer match, you might get backed up. We were friends, we were at the girls' school, and a parent was like, "Oh, I'll drive you back." And we were there for, like, I don't know, some wine and cheese night back to school or something, and the parent was like, "I've got space in the car, we'll drive you and the girls back." I'm like, "Great." And then we got caught in traffic, like, and it's like, but you're flying down the highway, nothing, and then you're in this, like, bottleneck, because that's where the stadium is, and we were stuck there for like 30 minutes, and then once we passed the stadium, it was like smooth
totally
sailing.
fine.
Yeah, totally fine.
So Xena has a friend that lives right there, and they invited us to dinner, which was lovely, but none of us knew. They just moved there, and I don't think they were really up on football times, like the matches. So we went there, and it was literally 8:00 when the match starts at 9, right? So everyone's there. Mm-hmm. And we're driving around trying to find parking. And one of the funny things about when these sorts of things happen, there is not enough parking, right? Obviously. So what happens is you're literally allowed to park anywhere. So the dad came out, he's like, well, up on where, like, you've got grass with trees, and the cars are parked between the trees.
Really?
They're parked halfway up the sidewalk. They're parked on the sidewalk.
So you got a $3 million ticket for going down a street that was clearly a street, but you weren't allowed to go down the street.
It wasn't a football match.
So I can't park there just on a Tuesday morning.
No. But for football, you can do anything. Okay.
Football is
football.
life, right? Was that the quote from Ted Lasso?
So basically, yeah, people were double parked, and that means that the people that were parked regularly knew that they weren't getting out until 1:00 in the morning, because that football match is going to start at 9:30. You're getting out of there at like midnight, 12:30.
Whatever you say. Never been to a football match. So I don't know.
haven't either. We are going to be deported. Okay, so anyway, but it was funny. He's like, yeah, just park here, like on the grass. And I'm like, but I feel like this is illegal. And he's like, no, it's football. It's football night. Like, no one cares. And it was true. I mean, I just parked everywhere. I mean, was amazing. Insane. Yeah, so there are sort of times where rules don't apply, and I think it's usually related to football.
Gotcha. Yeah, we haven't been yet. What I will say also, what's refreshing, back to the transport life, for us urban folk. When we first moved here, we went to the zoo with friends of ours.
Oh, the zoo.
Hold that thought. Put a pin in it. We'll get back to the zoo.
Okay.
we're trying to learn to hold off on our tangents and keep our thoughts linear.
I'm not doing very well.
We're gonna fail, but just so you know, we are mindful that should be more mindful. So,
For what that's worth.
whatever that means. So when we first went, we went to the zoo with family friends that we had just met, and we were on the bus, and the father had said to me, he's like, yes, just tell me about transport and give me the lowdown. I mean, we'd literally been here like a week or two, and he said, was showing me that on the bus there's different colored seats, and it's the same for the subway for people who are handicapped, pregnant, elderly, in whatever, incapacitated, people who deserve a seat more than maybe you do, right?
Right.
And I was like, oh, that's interesting, because in my really only big, mass transit situation was in New York, and like there's like a handicapped area for like a wheelchair, but like no seats for pregnant people. Like you're like, if you're pregnant in one leg and you're on the A train in New York, you're on your own. Like you're lucky if someone's gonna let you sit down, right?
Are
Like,
people actually letting people sit down if they see someone that needs
well,
it
he
in
said,
New York?
he's like,
do you
you'll
think?
see that like even children, like swarmy teenagers, hooligans, will see an older person or someone who needs a pregnant person or someone who needs to see, and without the person coughing, without eye contact, they just see them enter the bus and they automatically get up, knowing that the seat doesn't belong to them anymore.
Yeah,
and I was
no,
like,
it's amazing.
Humanity doesn't do that. Get out of here. So then for my, I guess this is like is this my third Spain moment? This is another Spain moment. Jump start to several months later, I get on the bus, and some zit-faced teenager looks at me, gets up, and then like shows me the seat.
Oh, that's so nice.
Is it though?
It is.
Is it? No, it's not. I mean, I took it because but
You're
still.
older than him.
Oh, I know. But I mean, I'm not. I look incapacitated. I know I've put on some few pounds and I've lost my hair.
Well,
but,
can I just say that is not the purpose of those seats necessarily, and that is where your Spain comes in, which is that those seats are not for the young kids. It's for anybody. It's for anybody. No. You do not have to be elderly, incapacitated, pregnant, or anything to have those seats. They will be given up to somebody older. So like you said, if a kid sat down, like if it was a teenager, he knows that anybody older than him should be having that seat. So you could be like, you don't have to be an old fart.
I love how you tried to save me from ruin on Sunday, but thank God there's no Dunkin' Donuts nearby. Oh, there is one nearby. I'm not going to it, though. I'm not going to drown my sorrows in donuts.
We found the Dunkin' Donut. We didn't know that it was there, and Zena and her friend went bananas and made us drive in to go there.
Did you try them? Were they good? Because we haven't been to it, actually. Look at this tangent. We haven't got back to the zoo.
I'm not even allowed to talk about the zoo. Let me talk about Dunkin' Donuts for a minute. I'm a Krispy Kreme's donut if I'm gonna, and I'm not a big donut person, but I do believe it tasted like Dunkin' Donuts. Is it possible?
So they tasted American. They tasted like,
you would have to go and answer that question, because I'm not
going
to be the person.
Here at the store and the bakeries don't taste like anything we're used to.
Well, it is a legit Dunkin' Donuts, so right. I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't. And they have
but McDonald's here is legit McDonald's, and you cannot get a Egg McMuffin to save your life. So
okay, but the other food you get at McDonald's, does it taste like McDonald's?
As much as it's allowed to in Europe.
Okay, there you go. So I'm sure it would.
We just got Coke last night, and we were talking about how Coke tastes like Diet Coke because it's not allowed to have the same amount of sugar in it. So we're like, it's still not the same as American. It doesn't have that bite as what we're used to.
Well, then I don't, and then I'm going to say you might be disappointed. But for us, who haven't had a donut in like 5 years, let's say, right. And her friend was a friend who is in the military, and her dad's in the military, so they travel around a lot. So she appreciates those things when she finds them as well. So it was an excursion for the kids that was very exciting.
And it's been a while since you've lived in LA, but I don't know if you remember though. So we're not Dunkin' Donuts fans. So in LA, chain donut stores aren't really a thing. It's all about these like kind of mom and pop owned by, I think it's like Cambodians and Vietnamese, or like the big owners of a lot of the donut stores in LA. So we're used to these kind of like mom and pop situations, but it's that taste. So when we get a glazed donut here, we're like, it still isn't that fluffy, that same taste.
I think you'll find that.
Okay, I will try the Dunkin' Donuts. But okay, let's talk about the zoo.
Okay, let's talk about the zoo. I just want to say, since you brought it up, and it's way more exciting than donuts, is that the zoo here is amazing. I love it.
It really is. It really
And
is.
we've been there a bunch of times. And speaking of really bad American foods, they have slushies there that we is basically the reason that Xena goes there, and then we get to see the animals.
Okay.
But also as a tip for the zoo, this is really what I just wanted to mention because it's kind of travel related ish, which is the price for a day and the price for a yearly pass is the same.
Right.
So if you live here, get the yearly pass and you can just keep going back, and the daily pass is really just for tourists. But I
Right.
love how they do that. I think that's really nice.
It's very nice, and
Yeah.
and the zoo itself is amazing because it's not like a zoo. Like, it's very small. It's only African animals, and so it's a very specific zoo. But you feel like you're on safari. They have set it up that you don't see the habitats are like you see a clearing and trees, and there's the habitat, and then there's like the monkey area that you go through doors, and I mean it's not like gorillas aren't running around you, but there's like the little whatever those little monkeys are called are hopping around you and stuff.
Yeah,
and so
the
that's
monkeys,
very cool.
Yeah, the gorillas have they do have a glass
Right.
that you have to look through, but everything else is done with dips in the ground and water and things like that, so that for the most part, I think, so that you are just looking freely at the animals.
At the animals, and you don't see the bars and stuff. Like, I remember there's a walkway, and we saw a giraffe's head come over from one side and eat the trees from the other side of the walkway, and I'm like, that is so weird.
This is making me want to go to the zoo. I want to go to the zoo now.
Leave the
And
kids
then,
at home.
yeah, and then the other thing they have there, which you can miss, but try not to miss it because it was really cool, is they have a open air auditorium area, and they do shows there. I think several times a day at a certain time, and they are at those times, and they have the falconry, and they let the bird flies over you and comes back to the guy, and then they have a grass area in the middle where they bring out from underneath the seats all these animals, and they run around the grassy area, and then they explain them, and then they go back. You don't
I didn't
have
do that. Oh, that
it's
sounds kind of cool.
so cool. And you just sit there, and it's a really nice show, and it's, I don't know, maybe half an hour or something. You can totally sit through it.
Well,
and see
we're
a bunch
due
of
for a
animals.
zoo visit because we haven't been since that first time we moved here. I will say another, it feels like every episode we do have to mention something about food because
Food.
because it's food. Is that what I was another thing I was impressed about the zoo was the food, the cafeteria, the restaurant or whatever was like a legit restaurant. I mean, you go up and you order it, and you get a tray and take it to your thing, but it's real food. They have the paella that's been cooking all day, a couple forms. I think they have, how do you pronounce it? The fidua, fidua,
And that's not how you pronounce it, by the way. The guy at the restaurant was trying to get me to say it, and I think finally after the 50th time I said it correctly, and then the 51st time he's like, I give up on you.
But they have poached salmon, but it's not the rubbery hamburgers and chicken fingers like you find in the States, and it's not a $15 burger. The meal that they have a menu del T, and the whole meal was paella, an appetizer, and a drink and a dessert. I think it was 16, 17 euros. I'm like, you have a captive audience. You could so charge more for this. Right?
Oh my gosh, right. There's nothing else there other than
Right.
which is basically what we use, the smooth the slushies and the ice cream and everything like that. And speaking of the fidua, I guess if that's how you say it, that is, in case anyone doesn't know, that is like a paella, except it's made with these little bits of pasta.
Vermicelli pasta, basically.
Okay,
Yeah, little 1-inch long pieces of.
Yeah, and it's really good. It has kind of the same flavoring, and it's cooked kind of the same way as a paella, and it comes in a paella pan and everything, but it's with the pasta instead. It's very, very good.
It is good. I
delicious.
prefer the paella myself over that, but
Gosh, I like both.
well, you can like
I
both.
know. But I love it when I have friends in town and there's enough of them. So we had the friends in town, I think I told you that it was a family of 6. So
Right.
they were staying with us. So we were a big group when we went out to eat. So we had the luxury of getting a couple of paellas for dinner. So we did the fidua and the paella, which was great to get both in the same meal.
That's allowed.
So good. Yes, it was so good. I say it was.
I'm trying to think there's something else to say. So we've talked about the transport, the subways, the buses. Now the buses is a very extensive system here in Valencia, and they also have trams, which I never take the tram because the tram's really on the other side of the park.
And then we also have the trains going from city to city. So I
Right.
will say overall, I want to just point out that having been on the New York Underground and London and different places, it's really nice here. The trains, the
Yeah.
buses, the trams, like the
And
commuter
clean.
rails, clean and new and nice. Really, really nice. So
Clean,
the
new, nice, and ironically, free of graffiti. You see graffiti everywhere
That's
in Europe,
true.
but you
Yeah.
don't see it on the subway cars. You don't see them. You just don't. It's kind
Yeah.
of interesting. I just thought of that now.
Yeah. And really nice. And then we have the high speed train that goes between here and Madrid.
Hmm.
And you've got trains going up to Barcelona and stuff, but I mean that's not a high speed one, but it's not, it's a nice train, and
But
it's
it's the
not.
Euromed isn't necessarily high speed, but it's express. It only has
Yeah.
one stop. So there is
So
like
it's
the local
faster.
train that's like 4 hours, but I think that one's like 3 hours.
Right.
And rumor has it they're building a high speed line from here to
I think
there.
so. I think they are building more high speed around. I think there's a new high speed that's going in maybe between, God, I'm not going to get it wrong, but maybe between like somewhere in the south to Madrid as well. So they are definitely building more high speed trains around Spain, it seems.
Hmm.
Very,
I think
very
Spain
good.
has one of the most extensive train systems in Europe. I think it's
Oh,
like
really?
I think it has like the most miles, like the most tracks or something. Length of, do you know length of? There's something. It's a
Yeah.
most of something. It's a superlative of something.
Wow. I mean,
I
that's
don't.
fascinating information.
It's like-
Also the price, I think the price of going between is very, very good. And again, I haven't like done that yet because we drove to Madrid when we went, because we had to go to Costco and come
right.
back with a car full of stuff.
Well, I've only taken the train to and from Madrid, and I've done it 3 times now. And
Yeah.
what's great here is we have the state-run train system, and
Mm-hmm.
then there is so they have, but it's they don't have a monopoly because they have the Irio trains and the Wigo trains. So the Italian, there's a private Italian train company and a French train company that compete, and so you can get, if you book far enough in advance in the right time, you can get like a train ticket to Madrid for like €9 one
Yep.
way. And I
Which
mean,
is
that's
amazing.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're taking a trip this summer, which we'll talk about later, but we're doing a train trip, and it's like the amount of what we're spending on the trains to go to all these places is relatively nothing, compared
Right.
from the distance that we're doing. And but yeah, you're here in Madrid in less than 2 hours, and the stations are very, located centrally in each city. So
Right. So
that's
you
what's
can
so
go to
great
Madrid for the day.
for lunch. You can go
Yeah,
for
and
lunch and
come
come
back.
back and
Yeah.
not be tired for dinner, because we did that. My aunt was in town in the fall and with her grandson, and we went to Madrid. We went to the Prado. We had lunch, and we would have been back earlier. We missed the train, so we
Right.
didn't take the next one.
Well, pseudo planned.
Pseudo. But
Yeah.
yes, you can do that easily.
Yeah.
Without be like, yeah, let's just go for the day and come back.
But don't try to think. I mean, I calculated taking a train like to London.
Oh no, no, no. Well, I mean, that's the American myth, right? And
It totally.
the American myth, I'm like, oh, Europe, the trains is you can take a train everywhere. Well, I mean, you can't. It'll take 7 days. Like I remember
And 2,000
in
euros.
two
It's not
thousand euros,
cheap.
it's not cheap. Once you cross the border, it's not
Yeah.
cheap. Now, I think if you're like in France, like in that central Western Europe, France, Switzerland, Germany, Belgium, you can take trains and go to different countries much easier. But if you're in like Spain or Italy on these peninsulas where you are the only country, it takes hours and hours to get outside the country. So for us
Yes.
to get to like Paris, it's over 9 hours to do it. And you have to change trains, I think in Barcelona, where the flight's an hour and a half and
And
much
maybe
cheaper.
20 euros if you
Yeah,
get it, if you don't
exactly.
get when you go. So I mean, the flights, and especially if you want to go to England, which we were thinking it would be fun to do the train or drive or something, but the cost of it, and you really have to make that your trip and make a 2 week trip out of it and spend one day in England and come back, because the cost of going over the channel and everything. I mean, it's just it with the price of airfare now, it's just not really worth it.
Right.
So unless that is your trip, is the driving or is the taking the train and stopping, and that's something that you want to do, it's definitely not the most cost effective way to travel.
Right. Exactly, for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Not from
but
here anyway. Spain is bigger than it looks, people. I mean, if you start trying to do
it's
things,
huge.
it's
Yeah.
huge. You
It's
look
huge.
at it and you're thinking, oh yeah, you could just go from here to here, and it's like it's a long trip. It's a long trip.
Right.
And that
Exactly.
means there's a lot of great things to see and a lot of different foods to eat. And
But if you're like me and you're carless, it does take a lot of planning and a lot of time, because there's a lot of places that aren't easily accessible by train. Or if you do, you have to go to Madrid and then come back all the way around. We're like, you may have been able to get there by car in 3 hours, but it might take 12 hours by train because they don't have a link that way.
Right.
But you'll figure that out when you visit, when you move here, or if you're just bored and you go on the websites and see how these things happen.
Exactly. Well, I think that pretty much covers transportation or whatever it was we were supposed to talk about today, plus the zoo, plus the other things.
Plus food and donuts and...
Now you have to go taste the donuts.
And what's it called? Squash? What a squash is?
And squash, yeah. See? So many things.
So many things. All right. Adios.
All right. See you later. Hey, can't get enough of us? Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Our Spain Podcast.
And on our website, ourspain.com, which we will be updating with exciting new things as we grow.
We would love for you to message us with any topics you would like to hear about.
See you next time.
Bye.